Back from the stock exchange in New York City. I'm in Los Angeles this morning. Have I learned more about how the stock market works, what it means? No, but I do get to dig in to the Super Bowl. We are sitting here. We've got 4 shows until we head out to Vegas. Well, I guess 5. We're staying here Monday. We're going there Monday. We're putting our shows together. We are going to have 2 hours instead of 1 hour with all sorts of guests. It's going to be a lot of fun live on YouTube. Live guests, part of the Up and Adams family, of course, will be there, and then whoever decides to show up. But we are super juiced to get there to see the Niners take on the Chiefs in a bit of a rematch. Do the Niners have a chance? Do the Chiefs have a chance? Let's wrap our head around these conference championship games and put a bow on them. Torrey Smith is here. He'll be able to speak to the Ravens, the Lamar of it all. I have a feeling he's going to have some things to say here on a Tuesday. We also are going to have Jalen Smith. Of course, we got a little Cowboys to talk to him about. We got to talk to him about his bowling career and all sorts of things with Jalen Smith on today's show. Let's do it. Excellent bowler, big bowling fan. I've got lots of facts about him. I've got my fans/producers out there just giving me all sorts of facts about him as he gets set to join the show. Very excited to talk to him. Very excited to put a wrap on the conference championship games. I'm sure the Lions and Ravens excited about that as well, so they can go out and get out there and forget about things. But there are a couple of storylines that I do want to dig into this morning. We'll talk to Torrey Smith about all sides. He's the perfect guest to have here. Of course, spent time with the Ravens. They went ahead and lost, and of course, he's spent time with the Niners as well. We'll get his faith level in a Brock Purdy. What's it going to take? What's this new look Patrick Mahomes? Is the defense going to carry them? Somehow the defense still in the mix of everything, not being talked about as much as it should. And it probably will be the factor that really leads to Kansas City if they maintain and keep this dynasty talk going to get themselves a win in Super Bowl 58 in Vegas. My goodness. Let's start, though, with Brock Purdy and what we saw out of him on Sunday. Now, if you watch this show, you know we've tried to always be positive about Brock. We've never have bought into the BS that his success is 100% a product of Shanahan and the talent around him. Even when I bring in Rob Stats Guerrero, we're talking about Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, we were positive about him. And beyond the fact that this was the second largest comeback in conference championship history and the obvious importance of the win, I think this was the most impactful, significant, whatever you want to call it, the biggest performance you've seen from Brock Purdy, because not everything went as Kyle drew it up. And while, yeah, we had a crazy IU catch that was insane, the second half performance wasn't just about the pieces around him. It certainly wasn't about the defense around him. Brock had to take this thing on his shoulders, create, and make points. I mean, escaping, let's just go through this here. Escaping this sack, I don't know how he did it. Oh my gosh, rolling to his left, defender in his face. He could have a residency in Vegas as a magician with this sort of stuff. Unbelievable feats. The throw to Juszczyk is just about as good as anything that we've seen from any quarterback this weekend, and it wasn't the only play that made me go, wow, this is amazing, both with his arm and with those legs, those clutch scrambles that we need to see more of if they want to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying he's Mahomes or Lamar from a talent perspective. Relax, everybody. But to me, yesterday should be sort of, not yesterday, but, you know, this weekend, gosh, my days are mixed up, should be definitive proof that Brock can make things happen and that Brock can be a sole game changer. It can be on his shoulders when everything's taken away and not going according to plan. Did I lose a little faith? I don't know that I lost faith in Brock, but I had a lot of faith in the Lions doing things right in the first half. So I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. But in the most pressure-packed of spots, Brock has shown us 2 weeks in a row that he's got it. And if the visuals that we just showed you and these plays and these, you know, elements of magic here, if that's not enough for you, if you look at the second half of numbers, 174 through the air, 49 on the ground, he barely missed. You can see there at the bottom of the screen, the only other quarterback to ever put up these kinds of second half stats in a conference championship win was Cam Newton back in 2015. Hamilton could not wait to text me that because it was sort of wild. So I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't actually expect anything to change from the critics' vantage point on this, people who want to tear him down, not believe in him for whatever reason, even though just this should, what we've seen this Sunday what we saw the week before. It should. Even if he beats Mahomes and wins the Super Bowl and wins, let's say, Super Bowl MVP, there's still these people, this dark side of the world is still going to be spewing the same sort of venom in his direction. But the guys in that locker room, we had Debo on every week of the regular season. Like, he believed in him all along. Through the Ravens loss, through the interceptions, through the whatever, through the disbelief. Like, this team, these guys have his back. And he has exactly what the Niners need, and the Niners are exactly where they want to be with him, and that's all that really matters. So he manages to come up clutch, as our lower third says, is right. Okay. At Up and Adam Show with your thoughts on this. We've got Torrey Smith coming on. Jalen Smith is on the show. I also want to dig into what happened with Lamar a little bit. We were at the stock exchange. It was all celebratory yesterday. It kind of didn't feel like the time for it. But I'm a huge fan of his, of course. The way he even... Just the way that he's rogue, the way that he rages against the machine, the way he's like Frank Sinatra, I did it my way. I like that. I appreciate that. I really respect that, especially in this business where there's a mold created for how you should run your business, how you should do things. And ultimately you have to take risks to be able to get to the top, which is where he is. He's the MVP of the regular season. This performance was so tough for me and anybody who champions him to swallow. And it doesn't diminish what the Chiefs defense did, like I said, to start the show. Like, they need to be talked about more, and they will be here leading into the Super Bowl. But the more that we sort of dig into this and pick it apart and dissect it, I think there's a few reasons why this happened, and why also it continues to haunt and happen to Lamar throughout his playoff career. First, I think Lamar has been pressing in these spots a bit. It sounds obvious. Everyone's talking about it on Twitter. I know we saw it Sunday with throws like the one you just saw, right? The throw, the interception into triple coverage. Like, why? We saw it in the first playoff action, 2018, as we kick it back. He tries to take so much on himself in these big games. I got it. It's all me. And I think that's what leads to this. And I think it's up here as much as it is just the adrenaline of the moment taking over and being a superhero. When you hear about the all-time clutch players in any sport, and when you listen to them talk about approach, and I'm talking from the Derek Jeters to the Michael Jordans to the Tom Bradys, it is never about them raising their game, their on-me mentality in the moments. It's about sort of continuing to do what they've always done, regardless of the score, the time left, or the amount of pressure. And sort of, so like, to me, like the juxtaposition, of watching Mahomes this weekend manage the game and not press while Lamar was pressing and forcing things on the other side, that sort of was my theme as when I went to bed that night, of what drove it home for me. And that can change, as we've seen it change with Mahomes. And I also want to say, the more we dig into it, it's not all on Lamar either. The coaching staff has to take some accountability, and I'm sure they are, and they will here. During the regular season, the Ravens gave it to their running backs 21.4 times per game, and with a ton of success, okay? On Sunday, they ran it with their backs 6 times the entire game. And everyone on Twitter is talking about this, and they should. I just feel like I hadn't said it yet, and I wanted to get into it because we talked about the importance of these running backs leading into the game. We only have an hour show. So much of our real estate was like, let's run against this Chiefs front that has some depth issues. They got trampled by the Bills' run game just a bit over a week ago. Baltimore instead recklessly, inexplicably abandons it. And, we were so proud of them keeping it balanced, doing all the things. And they sort of, it wasn't like Lamar was like, I got it. Lamar was forced to take it all on his shoulders, in my opinion, as a fan watching. And John Harbaugh was asked about it, and he said, quote, that's just the way the game went. But it's kind of been the case every year the Ravens have been in the playoffs, isn't it? Lamar's thrown almost 10 more passes per game in the playoffs than he does in the regular season. They, in the playoffs, get away from their identity as a team. And you hate to see it, because this is what I thought was the team that should go to the Super Bowl as the best team representing the AFC. He was the best quarterback all season. They were the best team. So we've seen the Chiefs, on the other hand, which become the best team in the brightest moments. And there's something to be said about that and what they've got there with Andy Reid, with Mahomes, with Kelsey, with with Chris Jones. the Chiefs adapt. They learn. They've grown. They've completely evolved from mistakes made from preseason to week 1 to now. And I'm hoping, this is this is the reason I think the Ravens can do it in this window with this quarterback. Coach Harbaugh, Lamar, they can use the offseason to sort of adapt and grow the same way. They're both too good at what they do to let this loss sort of define this era of Ravens football. So terrible loss, gonna sting the whole 9, and their season is wrapped now as we go into the offseason. And now you've got players, Marlon Humphrey and Stone, and they're hanging out, and everyone's letting off their steam as they should. A bunch of them will be in the Pro Bowl. A bunch of them will, they're on the phone with their marketing agents, getting last-minute deals to go to Super Bowl and do the whole thing. But they're better than this. They should be in this game, and hopefully they get there, and it will be by adapting and sticking to their identity. We should also, kind of a somber start to the show. Tori's going to have to pick me up, so will Jalen Smith here in a bit. But we should put a wrap on the Lions season. So I don't think the pain of this loss is going to go away anytime soon for anyone on this team, of course. And even though you have to qualify this season as a success, it's in the success column, I do think the future is brighter for them, but it's going to be really tough to get over. If there's a coach, I do believe, that can sort of pull his team and his fan base up, it is Dan Campbell. Listen to what he said and the message he had about the game and about the season to his team.
And it's a lesson learned. And look, I told those guys, this may have been our only shot. Do I think that? No. Do I believe that? No. However, I know how hard it is to get here. I'm well aware. And it's going to be twice as hard to get back to this point next year than it was this year. That's the reality. And if we don't have the same hunger and the same work, which is a whole nother thing, once we get the offseason, then we got no shot of getting back here. I don't care how much better we get or what we add or what we drive. It's irrelevant. It's going to be tough.
I'm sort of in the place with this of why wouldn't I believe him? He got the job and said, I'll tell you what, we're going to make a team that this city's proud of. I can listen to those bites all day long, and he delivered on that. He messed up. I think he knows that. And then he had to deliver a hard truth to his team, to the media, to the city. And now the expectation that he's setting and sort of the reality that he's being dealt, I think that's why this team will be right back in the thick of it next year. No sugarcoating, no delusions, no excuses, no embracing the suck or whatever either. This is just the standard for what needs to happen going forward. And really the reason things haven't worked in Detroit in the past is because, and it's something to do with a curse or whatever, or Aaron Rodgers hunting the division or anything like whatever, joke about the Lionsing or whatever. It's because they did not have that. They did not have this guy or the right coach, unfortunately, at the right time, or the management in place until right now. Leadership matters. Dan Campbell matters. The talent that Brad Holmes brought in, look what that rookie class did. It was insane. They're in a good spot. They just got to keep it together. We might get to talk to Kirk Cousins next week. I'm so curious what he makes of the whole NFC North. Is he staying in the NFC North? There's so much to talk to him about, so we'll get to that. Let's take a break here. We have Torrey Smith coming on the show, Super Bowl champion. We've got him talking about, we're going to go right to Lamar Jackson. We got to get Torrey's takes on Lamar Jackson out here. I need some help with this heavy lifting. We got to talk about the Niners and their chances against the Chiefs, all after this. Can't wait to hear what Torrey says. I hear you on this. You just spoiled the Kirk Cousins appearance. I didn't say that. I don't know if we are having Kirk Cousins or not. Kirk is going to Atlanta. Interesting. Who's the quarterback of the Broncos? That's my question. Are they drafting someone? Are they bringing in a veteran? Kirk Cousins? Probably don't want to back up the Brinks truck for that. Okay, do you guys have questions for Jalen Smith? I had so many fun responses about Jalen. And let's see. Get some of this user query. Hey, Ham, are you around? User query, there it is. He names his bowling balls. Did you know this?
I did not. What does he name them?
What kind of research I need. He names his first bowling ball was named the Dark Knight.
Okay.
He worked at Burger King. I got to ask him about BK. Did people call it BK? Because I certainly
I
did.
wonder how he feels about those 50
Hey,
commercials during
am I crazy?
every single game.
It's Tuesday, right? Because the script said yesterday. Was that? Did you? Who? What was I missing? Is that me? This is from yesterday for today.
What was that? Sorry,
In the
I
A?
couldn't hear the first
No,
one.
I'll text you about it. I'm trying to think of what else.
Okay.
Jalen's mom. Let's see. On his 17th birthday, his parents bought him a 1995 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. He used it to take his siblings ice skating, to the movies, and bowling. What's a good bowling score? I don't know. 300 is a good one?
Everything, anything over 200 is pretty damn good. If you're not like,
All right.
a professional bowler.
You should have seen Gronk yesterday. Like, these are the comments. He was obsessed with that iPad. He loved it. Okay, cool. Cool. Can you put that in there, actually? The bowling ball thing, Burger King.
Okay.
Wanted to watch Rudy before he made his visit to Notre Dame. He hated defense and wanted to be a running back like his brother.
Hey, in case you didn't know, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're not finished. We still got one more. Yeah, but in the meantime, enjoy this son of a gun.
Like I've been saying, we ain't done yet. See something, 1, 2, 3.
And then there were two. Our first guest played 8 seasons at wide receiver for the Ravens, Niners, Eagles, and Panthers, 2-time Super Bowl champion, host of Trending Thoughts podcast. Download it, subscribe. Our good friend Torrey Smith is here. Torrey, what'd you make of these games?
Man, it was a great weekend of football. You know, I had a tough loss for us here in the area in the city of Baltimore, but it was great ball. The Chiefs did a great job executing their game plan and making plays when they mattered the most. And I mean, it was a great weekend of football. You couldn't hate on that if you're a fan of the game.
Now, you said you had a tough decision, I remember, last weekend. I didn't check in to see if you went to the first AFC Championship game in Baltimore since 1970 or if you chaperoned 60 kids with your level 82 football team. What did you decide?
I stayed with the kids in South Florida. I did not come up to the game. I did not feel comfortable leaving those kids. And honestly, it's a great thing that I didn't because I made a mistake traveling-wise. So I got it right. It's good to go.
You got it right. We love to see it. We hate that the Ravens aren't in it. Wasn't the result that anybody was expecting. And then people immediately, like this, like on a dime, are like, this is whose fault it is and this is what it is. You tweeted out something I loved because it was so honest and it's so true. Fans turn on players so quickly. It's annoying. Who do you think's being judged the most unfairly in this Ravens loss?
Zay Flowers. I think for him, he made a mistake reaching the ball out. You're always taught when it comes to reaching the ball out in the end zone that it has to be the end of the game or like 4th down and wherever somewhere, right? Just being smart about it. And all he was doing was simply trying to make a play. And I think whenever guys are punished for making the plays, you have to give credit to Snead for doing his job as well, not giving up on the play. He punched the ball out. And when those things happen, you see fans crushing him. And I'm watching him. Like, man, this guy had a great year. He had a great game. And so let's not crush him for one single play. And yes, he taunted a few plays before that, but whatever. They got those yards back. And, you know, he's a big-time player. He's going to be a great player in Baltimore for a long time. And for me, it's annoying when you watch fans just rip players. And, yes, I may be a little more sensitive because I was on that other side of the fence at one point. But the reality of it is it's completely unnecessary because that's the same guy you were praising, similar to Lamar Jackson, the same guy you were praising just a week ago, and now all of a sudden you believe he can't get it done. And to me, that's just simply foolish.
I mean, Zay has maybe speak to Zay. Like, he's got a bright future, of course. I think a lot was made of the taunting, the punching the bench stuff, the slicing his hand open. He's got a great future, and he was accountable. He stood in front of I can't even imagine. And I watched his nonverbals, like he wouldn't make eye contact with anyone, and I wouldn't either, being asked these questions, like he wants to put it behind him. Like, what would you say to Zay as he approaches his offseason?
And just flush it, right? It's already done. It already happened. Just learn from the situation. I mean, the only way as an athlete that you're never in the position where you feel like, and it's not necessarily true most of the time, where you feel like you let your team down by making a mistake or dropping a game-winning ball or throwing an interception or whatever it may be, something you feel like you lost the game. The reality of it is it wasn't that one play, but it weighs on you heavy. And so the biggest thing is to remember the only way it's not going to happen is if you're not in that situation. Every single player has that happen to them at some point. I've been there plenty of times. I go through it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I've won plenty of games, but the ones that I feel like I lost it like stick out more. But it takes time for you to reflect on it. When you're done, you're like, wait, those 2 or 3 times where I feel like I may have messed us up, I'm checking off the list in double digits where I feel like I did plays that help us win the game. So it's a mental thing. He'll be fine. He's young. He'll learn for it. And the Ravens will be right back in this situation again.
Yeah, I feel like I just want to bring up the hand thing just because he's getting almost as much, if not more, criticism for that than the fumble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think with his hand, he already had a little cut there. Guys are frustrated, right? When you feel like you let your team down, right, it's frustrating. Sometimes you act off emotion, right? But the reality of it is, again, he's young, right? He made one mistake. He did not cost his team the game. No one play does that. And, again, he'll be fine.
You mentioned it's not just all on him. The defense played so incredibly well. It was so sad to watch this sort of like not happen for them. We've seen Lamar in these games, these big games, so we have a bit of a resume for him. He's 2-4 in the playoffs. That's like a cloud that's over him that none of us want there. What kind of accountability do you think needs to be taken by the Ravens coaching staff for, I opened the show saying, why don't we run? Number 1 ranked run game. What are we doing? Putting it all on Lamar's shoulders, who then I feel like has to press a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like it's always easy to go back in hindsight and talk about, you should have ran the ball. You should have ran the ball. The reality of it is when 2 great teams play, the team that made the most mistakes lost the game. The Chiefs did a better job of protecting the football. If you go and you look at it, if Zay scores that touchdown, that's 7 points, right? If Lamar doesn't throw that interception in the red zone where I can see why he thought that was the read, but it was a little short. Now you have an interception, right? They had a great strip fumble that led to points for the Chiefs earlier in the game. Right? It goes both ways, but at the end of the day, the Ravens just made too many mistakes. So to me, I'm not a guy that's like, Coach Monken, why didn't you run the ball over and over? I look at 2 turnovers in the red zone, and I'm like, that's the difference in the game. So no matter how you shake it, yes, you would like to say the running backs would have ran at 20 or whatever plus times, but sometimes that's just how the game goes. And I feel like if they would have executed just a little bit better, and beyond execution, if they just would have protected the ball, I think the game could have had a different outcome.
You're saying what Harbaugh said, which was it was just that type of game. I don't think that's the answer. Fans, and you understand that. Like you've been away from the game long enough that you know that it's, well, what is it? Were you simply outcoached? Like is Taylor Lewan right about Lamar Jackson and how you can defend him and solve him? If you make Lamar go east and west and make him throw, you can beat him. Like how do we get these narratives to stop?
I think the narrative can easily stop by watching the games. We're talking about a guy that's going to hold up an MVP trophy in 2 weeks, right? So I think sometimes it's so easy to focus on, man, they didn't get it done in this game. If you can go a full NFL season, by the way, for a guy that's this young, and go with losing only 1 game, and then go again while losing only 3 games, you mean to tell me you can't win a playoff game? Right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. He's proven it. He won last week, played well the week before that. Like, it's just one of those things where, to me, it's mind-blowing because when that person fails, you try to pile it all on him. This is a guy that's proven that he's a winner. His winning percentage is up there with the best of them over his duration of playing. So, to me, I think it's a little overrated. It's just about getting it done. And they did not get it done this week in a tough loss, and he did not play the way that he's capable of playing. And at the end of the day, to me, I view it as 1 game. I don't think if this was a team and Lamar was a quarterback that hadn't led his team to victories plenty of time, right? 500 type team, barely sneaking into the playoffs, I would say that. But this is a guy that's had bye weeks at home twice, right? He's a big time player in this game, and he's going to be for a long time.
He's an MVP this year. He was already an MVP before, but it is that 2-4 thing this isn't the first time he's, that it has not worked out. When he's so good and everybody's like, they're just going to, go to the Super Bowl and win it. Like when you're watching these games, like you're saying, like we can watch the game. What is the takeaway about Lamar in this game and why this team couldn't get it done?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, to me, it's turnovers, right? I think there were opportunities for Lamar to use his legs a little bit more. Just taking off. I think he was waiting for things to develop downfield, but the Chiefs did a great job. And by the way, I have to give some credit to that defense, right? The Chiefs defense played very well. Everyone wants to show love to Patrick Mahomes, who I love, big fan of him. But the reality of it is that Chiefs defense did their job and made some plays. And by the way, Patrick Mahomes was on fire early on, so I don't want to discredit him. He was balling. But this Chiefs defense did their job, did a great job keeping Lamar contained. They never really let him get loose too much. And I think the plays that were developing down the field, and Lamar was waiting for it, I think it was just a little bit too much of that at times. And the offense never really found their rhythm until it was too late.
Yeah, it's really well said, and it doesn't take away from the season that Lamar had or necessarily mean that they can't change it. Look at what, you literally can look across the field and look at the Chiefs. They had all these questions, all this stuff. They adapted, they figured it out. I love that you're giving love to their defense because their defense is, if the Chiefs go and win against the Niners, it's because of their defense. And you're talking about the turnovers, it's just something that Patrick isn't doing right now. He's just managing these games. That side is protecting the ball in the brightest moments, and that's what matters. And, you know, they didn't score in the second half on Sunday. Do you have any thoughts about the Kansas City's offense? Can they keep up? And as good as the Chiefs' defense is, we know the Niners have a lot of weapons. They can put up points. Is this a team that can put up a lot of points in a Super Bowl against the Niners?
Absolutely. As long as they have Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback and Travis Kelce as their tight end, and that running game with Isaiah Pacheco who will run through your face mask, they are going to be fine. This Kansas City Chiefs offense has done nothing but get better over the course of the year. And don't let the numbers fool you. I mean, Patrick Mahomes started out with 11 completions. They can play different ways. I think we got so used to watching their offense look a certain way with a lot of big plays that you forget that Patrick Mahomes does have the ability to manage game, to take what's there, right? His feet, honestly, were the reason why they won that game. Baltimore's defense had them in third down situations multiple times where Patrick Mahomes is scrambling, and finding the open man late. I can think of Travis Kelce making 2 of those plays off the top of my head. So he has the ability to do and improvise for this team to go out and win. And again, it doesn't have to look one way. And that's the thing that's scary about this team. If it's a shootout, they can do it. If it's a slugfest and they have to run the ball, they can do it. So this Chiefs team can compete with anybody, especially going in there off that tough win in Baltimore.
I'm trying to make sense of how they're underdogs. They were underdogs against the Bills and Ravens. Now they're 1.5-point dogs against the Niners. You're talking about what their offense can do, which I think would be maybe my question. Can the offense do it? They've got the experience, 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. Their defense, they made the Dolphins look silly. They made the Bills look silly. Their defense is their strength, I think, going into this matchup. Is there any concern you have about the Chiefs going into the Super Bowl 58 against this Niners squad? Do they have any weakness?
Well, to me, the Chiefs offense, I think the 49ers match up very well because the way to beat the Chiefs is to get pressure with just 4. And you have Bosa, and you have Chase Young,
Let's go.
And you have Eric Armstead, and you have all of these guys that are going to be coming after, and you have to get to them. Baltimore did not get to them the rate they've been able to get to quarterbacks last week, which is why the Chiefs were able to move the ball in those tough third down situations. He's scrambling around. There's only 4 guys trying to get to him, right? I think the 49ers have the defensive line to go out there and get to him. That's where the challenge lies. But if the offensive line holds up very well, then you're going to be able to see, point guard Mahomes running around making plays. But the reality of it is this is going to be a great matchup. San Francisco is the better team, in my opinion. I felt like the Ravens were the better team, the best team in the league. Obviously, they lost. You had to play good on that day. But this 49ers team, I feel like, is built to win this. But Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are the guys that have been running this thing for a while. So it's going to be a great matchup, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
Javon Hargrave, of course, the interior pressure as well. I was talking to Hamilton because Chase Young is getting a little bit of why, is he sleeping on plays? Is he whatever?
Yeah.
But
this is it. Chase Young is going to have the game that they traded him for.
Tell me about this. You know him. You watched him in the area.
That's my guy. That's little brother right there.
So why is he getting so much heat? I just feel like also this staff's got to manage fatigue too. I wish he was rotated out in this game a little bit. What do you think?
I think when you have the potential and talent level of Chase Young, you're going to take a lot of heat when the numbers aren't showing up. And to me, him being traded, we have to remember he's still kind of coming off of that injury. He's playing, he's getting better, but he has the ability to perform at a high level, and we've all seen it. So to me, I think there's no better time for Chase Young to show everyone who we all know around this way who he is, to go out there and to perform and prove that that's why they traded for him. I think at times you would like guys to really have their presence to be shown, but the reality of it is, if he stunk it up all the way until this Super Bowl, which isn't the case, but if he stunk it up all the way until this Super Bowl and he goes out there and plays like the Chase Young I know that he is,
Yes.
that's going to be worth that trade and then some, because Bosa, you know he's going to bring it. It's going to be fun watching them boys play.
It's so interesting. I love that you kind of perked up about this. Me and Hamilton Hamilton's here somewhere. We had this huge, listen, the depth on this team took a huge hit. I go to Hamilton, I go, why am I seeing Chase Young? Hammy, if you're here, pop on. Why am I seeing him get any grief for what he looked like when he's out there? And he played the most snaps he ever played as a Niner in this game. Hammy, do we have you here? And he went back and he watched every play of Chase Young, like, of course, overnight. Hammy, what do you got?
What's up, Tori? Yeah, so I was going back and watching it because I saw all the stuff. I saw, obviously, the one play, the Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown, where it didn't look like he was giving his best effort. And not to make excuses, but as Kay said, he played the most snaps he's played in the game all year. The Cleveland Farrell injury has really hurt the Niners' depth, so they're keeping him out there more than usual. And it looked to me like he was just winded. He was giving a great effort on 6-7 plays before that, and I really think he was just gassed on that play. Is that fair?
Well, I think it's fair. And that's not to make excuses, but shoot, I've been there before where it's like, man, it's great before that. And then that one play where you show a little sign of weakness, that's when it comes. So, I mean, that's just how this game goes. And by the way, I don't want to discredit him on that run. That was an amazing run.
No,
but
a million percent. And I just like that you're calling it. You're calling that it's going to be the Chase Young Super Bowl, which I love.
It is. I want that for him, man. He deserves it. He's a great kid.
He does. And of course, he was former teammates with Nick Bosa. Let's go to this NFC side. And thanks, Hamilton, for being an absolute freak and watching every play of every player somehow in every game. But here's Nick Bosa talking about Brock. There's a couple questions about Brock. What is going on? Are you allergic to NFC North teams in the first half? What's up? Here's what he had to say about his action, I think, when they were down 17 in that win. Take a listen.
But when he started getting on his wheels, what were you thinking?
I don't pay attention to the media much, but whoever's talking shit about Brock Purdy, what do you have now?
Oh, okay. Well, listen. And what message do you feel like Brock Purdy sent with this type of game?
He's the best game manager in the league.
Oh, he's the best game manager in the league.
Why are there doubters still? What do you make of this?
Everyone wants success to look one way, and it just doesn't have to look that way. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
You can play this game and you can lead at the quarterback position, and it does not have to look one way. Everyone wants their quarterback to be Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. It just doesn't work that way. And I think for Brock Purdy, he's doing a great job. And also, before it's thrown out there, everyone needs a little luck on their side, right? Tom Brady wouldn't have won a few Super Bowls if it wasn't for luck and someone else doing their job. So I was getting crushed on Twitter like, oh, anyone can. What about when the ball bounced off the DB's face mask and his receiver made a great play? Okay, look at the paper. It says catch by him, right? I mean, it still doesn't matter. You can't judge him based off of that, because I can tell you, everyone remembers our run in Philadelphia where Nick Foles led the team to victory. That's my guy. I love him. He actually talked to my kids a couple of weeks ago, so love Foles to death. But before halftime, he threw a ball that was about to 3 people, bounced off their knee. I just happened to be in the area, catch it, and run with it, right? Should have been a very easy pick, possibly a pick 6. But the ball bounces your way sometimes. And I think for what Purdy was able to do, the plays he was able to make with his feet are really what impressed me the most.
Yeah.
He played like a winner. So at some point, people have to stop judging people for what they want them to look like. They have to judge them for what they're doing. And he's winning, and his team is winning. And by the way, winning is a team stat. It's not a quarterback stat. I don't care what anyone says.
Oof.
Because Tom Brady would have lost a Super Bowl if it wasn't for Malcolm
Tuck
Butler.
I thought you were going to say Tuck rule.
No, I'm not going to disrespect the Tuck rule.
When you mentioned luck, I thought Brady Tuck rule. No?
That's what I was thinking luck for. I was thinking luck for that one. But Patriots fans think I'm like out to get them, so I'm trying to be nice here.
No, your team just beat them in a Super Bowl. I think we can all feel a little bad for Patriots fans. I know that even though they have a nice new chapter unfolding with Gerard Mayo, who I absolutely love.
I'm excited for Mayo, by the way.
Yes, are you? I could not be happier that he's getting the gig.
Absolutely. I mean, Virginia guy first and foremost. but also, a former player. And when you watch these guys that are currently leading, those guys know what it's like to be in that locker room, right? He's played at a high level, and his personality is something that is very valuable. There's a reason why they've kept him there for so long, and he was the guy that was next in line. Do you know how much pressure exists for someone that has to follow the greatest to ever do it? Mm-hmm. And for Robert Kraft to recognize that early, that he's the guy that fits this culture. He understands what they're trying to do in New England. He understands the attention to detail that it takes, the discipline. He's been there. So I'm excited for him and his family as well, for the opportunity that they have up there in New England. And I think he's going to do a great job.
I know, he's got a lot on his plate, though. There's a whole culture thing to sort of rewrite his part of. And then, I think Mac Jones is out of there, the GM side of it. There's a lot of exciting things going on with that. Now, you're a former Eagle. We're going to say bye to you. Everybody download Trending Thoughts. It is Torrey Smith's podcast. We'll have him on next week. Of course, Super Bowl week. Are you going to Vegas?
I'll be out in Vegas checking out. I'm going to the game. I've enjoyed watching the Super Bowl as a fan, so I'm excited about it. Okay, you're going to the game, which is incredible. On your way out, former Eagle, say hello to y'all had some battles here. Former Cowboy Jalen Smith, you two are friends, yeah?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Good. That's my cousin. We got the same name, so we cousins out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we locked in. We locked in. We got to stay together.
Torrey and Jalen back in. You guys had some battles, Jalen, back in 2017, yeah?
Absolutely. We don't like Philly, That's just the reality of it.
Torrey Smith's out.
They know where the dominant side comes.
Torrey Smith just said, peace out, Jalen. We're going to take a short break here. We'll be back with you. We're going to talk, maybe we'll talk a little Cowboys, Eagles. We're, of course, going to talk about the Super Bowl 58. The countdown is down. And, Jalen, we got to talk about your bowling game. You name your bowling balls, I hear. Yes.
Let's get to it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, let's see here. Is Purdy the best game manager? Get out of here, Alex, with this poll. Get out of here. Okay, let's see. Kat, are you in here? She left. Is Kat? Where's Kat? Hey, Richard. Okay. Turkeys, nothing but turkeys. The 300. Exactly, Tom Brady. I don't mind bowling. Where's Kat? Shanahan calls the game. Why are you guys talking about golf on here? What is happening? God, what do you think happens to Mac Jones? Yes, how are we looking for this post-show thing? I haven't heard from them, but it's... Nothing? No. Interesting. Nothing. It's okay. You haven't heard from Cahill? Nobody. That's interesting, because I'm getting texts from them, but that's the only reason I want to include you, so I don't have to deal with it. Final media briefing kit for P&G attached. Can you hit Kat with that? Okay. So many players. Ask Jalen about his sunglasses. Kay will likely go on a vacation, until close to the draft. And definitely will be gone. That is true. All right.
I'm the greatest to ever do it. Nobody do it better. Jalen Smith. I'm doing this forever. The greatest to ever do it. Nobody do it better. Committed, I'll never quit it. I'm doing this forever.
Well, are we lucky? Very excited to have this Pro Bowler back on the show. He's got 8 years of veteran linebacking experience in the league, and the way he talks, he proves it. He's here. Somebody wants to know about your glasses. I don't want to know about that. Somebody said they bowled a 206 on their 12th birthday and never surpassed it as an adult. Jalen Smith, what is your best bowling score ever?
275 is my best score ever. I grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, from the Midwest state where it gets cold in the wintertime, and we can't be outside too much. So I grew up going to the bowling alley, and I love it. It's peaceful.
You love it. It's peaceful. I heard you named your bowling balls. That's a little. That's not a little peaceful. That's a little extra.
Listen, my lady calls me extra all the time.
Okay.
Getting down to the details, it's all about the competition, but you got to have a good time when you're out bowling as well.
Did you ever talk to the football? You think the footballs were ever jealous that you're out there naming the bowling balls?
I think that more people should name their bowling balls. Okay,
that's a good take. More people need to be doing that. You liked going bowling when you were younger. You actually got a car, a Monte Carlo. I know everything about you. I got the skinny on you before the show from somebody that you had a car and used to drive your siblings to go bowl, which is amazing.
Yes, absolutely. You know, growing up, getting my first car. My dream car was a Monte Carlo, but it wasn't a 1995. The car that I got. I wanted the 03, 04. But I'm humble and blessed for my parents of thinking of me.
17th birthday, your parents got you a 95 Chevy Monte Carlo. You took your siblings ice skating to the movies, and then there's a moped story. What is the thing about you? I know that you love your mom, but did you get in trouble from your mom?
I did. Jalen. I did. But I will say, so my favorite color is orange, and
I know that too.
When it was time for me to get a moped, I was able to get that color. It wasn't the brand that I wanted, but you know, along the lines, you got to make sure you're being graceful. So I'm happy to still be here and alive, and I also know how to drive now, too.
We love to hear it. Last one for you of this just stuff that I know about you. You worked at Burger King. Now those commercials are the worst commercials I've ever seen. Where the guy is singing, I hate these commercials, and he says BK. Was it called the BK? Was it called BK?
It wasn't branded that much as BK.
Right.
My time working there. But it's definitely given me inspiration to get into the restaurant industry.
Okay. I know. Well, you're in front of the camera now, and you of course, had a brilliant season, 6 locker rooms to talk to you about. The Cowboys, the Packers, the Giants, the Steelers this postseason. Of course, you are a self-made entrepreneur. We can't wait to get into some of this. Let's talk about your season. You started with the Raiders in November. Then you joined the Steelers towards the end of the year for a potential playoff run, but they were decimated with injuries, of course. Now, there's some out there who suggest that maybe the Steelers and Mike Tomlin have run their course. Maybe it's time for him to move on when the contract is up. How does it feel to you?
Mike Tomlin is there. He's proud. He's loved. And he's going to be ready for next year. 17 seasons of having a winning record, not having a losing record is something to be astounded by. And the players love him there. The city loves him there. I have a personal relationship with Mike Tomlin. Just kind of ran out of time for me to get a chance to play this year. But the beautiful thing about it is he's coming back, and I got faith in him for sure.
And how about you? What does the future look like for Jalen Smith?
Finishing my 8th year of my career, traveling to 3 different teams this year. I know I still got a lot left in the game. I know I can still produce at a high level. For me, it's all about opportunity. But I'm a guy that's much more than ball. So I'm going to train. I'll make sure I'm ready.
Okay.
But I also get an opportunity to hang out with you some more.
I love this. You're in front of the camera. I know you. I mean, we've always known from back in the Cowboys days. You had a future in front of the camera, and maybe we'll get you to do that. You can do that now while you play. and while you stay in shape, and while you're an entrepreneur, all of that, that's really amazing. So let's get your takes on a couple things here. Ravens-Chiefs game. This was a defensive showdown, 17-10 final score. But if we talk about offense very quickly, we're seeing this vintage Travis Kelce reemerge this postseason. It's been really fun to watch. Now, you played against him way back in 2017 when you were taking on Torrey Smith, too. It was week 9. He caught that touchdown you just saw. Why is Travis so hard to defend personally with your experience?
I believe the chemistry that he has with Pat Mahomes is untouchable. And then outside of his elusiveness, he's able to get open at the right moment at the right time. And that's where he's been able to be consistent with, and we see his success. And then when you get into the playoffs, when you have experience, veteran experience in the playoffs, it's a different type of ball. And he doesn't rise to the occasion. He sinks to the level of his preparation. And I love Travis Kelce for that.
You know, we as a nation, we as the football world, we love Roquan Smith. We love him. He's intimidating, to say the least, one of the best. I loved him in Chicago. Now, linebacker to linebacker, was this penalty by Roquan worth it to send a message?
It makes sense, but at the same time, when you're every inch matters, every down, every yard matters in the playoffs. So it's more about the timing of when he did that for me. But Roquan's a great guy. He's a team captain over there, and he's going to give it his all regardless.
What did you make of Lamar in this game? Because we were just talking to Torrey Smith, of course. You know, Lamar's getting a lot of grief for his postseason 2-4. There's like this cloud hanging over his head. When you watch this game, you know, they abandoned the run a little bit. He's having to put a lot on his shoulders. What did you make of Lamar's performance?
I wish they would have run more and been committed to it and live and die by the run. Because Lamar Jackson, he's a great passer. He has a lot of talent behind him, got some good guys up front. You know, what makes him different is his ability to use his legs. And AFC Championship game, you gotta do what got you here. And you know, we love Lamar Jackson. He's multi-talented. He's our MVP for this year. That AFC Championship game, run around like Vic and Moore. That's my advice next time.
The Niners, they have this epic comeback in the NFC side of things. They've got this defense. You know, Torrey Smith's on here saying they can rush 4. Chase Young's going to have this brilliant game. Their secondary is a little sus. Which defense do you find more intimidating going into the Super Bowl, the Niners or this Chiefs defense that's really carried them and gotten them to where they are?
I believe Chase Young will have an amazing performance in this Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Why? Because a lot of the attention is going to Nick Bosa. But you know what's crazy is when you're playing against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, mm-hmm. they have been there. They have done it. L'Jarius Sneed is playing like the best cornerback in the National Football League. Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquill. Shout out to Drew Tranquill. He's from my hometown, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Amazing. My
Notre Dame Irish brother, getting a chance to win a Super Bowl, but they're flying around. We know what Chris Jones brings to the table. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just going to come down to, can Brock Purdy get off to a fast start? If he can, I like their chances.
When you're watching these games this past couple weeks and he's not off to these hot starts, and I talk myself out of it, I go, he can't come back from this. This team isn't built to come back. And then he does. What is it that's happening that he's not off to a hot start? Like, how do you size up Brock Purdy from your vantage point?
I think a lot of it may be just trying to fill the game out instead of going in with that attack mindset from the beginning. I do think with the 49ers having an extra week to prepare for the Super Bowl, they'll be better. They'll be better, well matched. But it's a game that we all look forward to, and you just never know what's going to happen.
Now, last time we talked to you, you dropped this gem on me. Once a cowboy, always a cowboy. Okay, that's what you said. And I see with this heart emoji after the first round loss. What is this about, Jalen?
The heart emoji was, just for the fans of understanding that, it's been so long since the Dallas Cowboys have won. And it's something that needs to happen, for us being America's team and and having all the support and all the criticism for when things go wrong, it's just something that the fans deserve. The fans deserve to win. So I was feeling for Dallas Cowboys Nation, and the only thing that matters is what we do next. You know, for me, it's spending 5 years there. It's embedded in my soul for Cowboys to be successful, and for that not to happen was just kind of heartfelt for sure.
And now, they didn't get rid of Mike McCarthy. You, of course, are a Cowboy. Were you happy about that decision? They, of course, lose Kellen Moore now.
Mike McCarthy, I don't believe he's the full problem. I don't believe he's the problem. I think it's players and coach. I think that, you know, going into the game, the Packers, you know, wanting the ball, going down and scoring right away, that momentum, you know, the Cowboys, we're generally amazing at home. When it gets to the playoffs, we have to make sure that we start fast and finish strong. And that's just something that we've been, you know, short of for these past few years.
And hopefully they can turn it around. We don't know what's going on with Dak. It's very quiet on the Dak front out here in these NFL streets. Jalen, we appreciate you. Do you want to give me your Super Bowl pick before you go?
My Super Bowl pick, I'm rocking with Pat Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe they're going to do it again, and he's approaching Tom Brady level. And it's amazing to see his success at such a young age. None of us thought this would ever be replicated, you know, from me being a Tom Brady fan growing up, from when I started watching football until Pat Mahomes taking this torch and running with it. So I got Kansas City on this.
Jalen, we appreciate it. You're saying it. We hope it happens. Maybe we'll see you in Vegas. Who knows what you're up to. But Jalen Smith, we're going to keep training. We're going to do some TV things. We're going to do some entrepreneurial things. We're wishing you all the best. Keep crushing it. And get to 300 on the bowling score, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'll see you out in Vegas if you're out there.
I'll see you, Jalen. Bye.
All right.
We'll
Bye.
Be back. Hey, Hamilton. Who is on tomorrow?
Tomorrow we have. One second, sorry. We have Luke Kuechly, and then we have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith together, which is going to be interesting. Oh, yeah.
Wait, say that again? Who is it? A.J. Brown and Devontae together?
And then A.J. Brown and Devontae
Now, are they
together.
physically together, or are we doing a three-piece Zoom? Because that's a tough ask. Shit. That'll be fun. I hope there's not a delay. I hope they're together.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fun.
It's always better. And Kuechly, I don't think we've ever talked to Kuechly, have we?
I've never talked to Kuechly. Maybe at some point. Did you know he never came on Good Morning Football ever? I've definitely done some red carpets and stuff with him.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
I feel like Play 60.
Never actually interviewed him.
I think he and Christian did Play 60 with me, long time ago. But he'll be interesting to get his perspective. I haven't talked to him in a long time. That's exciting. We love a coach, Luke. Okay, so we're gonna do some buy or buys here.
Yeah.
This is a low energy show, Hammy. We gotta make some adjusts. I need to drink more coffee earlier for tomorrow. Okay. Yep. I love this show. Do you, Jay? AJ was our MVP. Yes. Okay. Okay, Kat, I think they're sending it to you. Great. Welcome to Super Bowl 57 here in Phoenix.
Come on,
Hey, cheers to you.
Cheers. Okay, you didn't have fun in college?
Hey, Adam said no
0?
fun in college. Good!
4, 3.
Yeah! Let's go to the bar here in a bit. Thank you, Tua. Vegas can't come here and then leave soon enough, in my opinion. Kansas City, San Francisco are on their pre-Super Bowl bye weeks. Joining me now, a man who never takes a week off. Well, that's not true. Hammer is here. How are you? That's a weird thing to write. Did you write that?
No.
Who wrote that? Not me. All right, we've been coming up with some takes for one another. You and I were texting about this yesterday. We're going to hit a little game of buy or buy. Luke Kuechly joins us tomorrow, guys. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown is on the show. I thought you were teeing me up on all of these. I don't know what you run the show. Go for it.
All right, we're going back. I'm gonna start with you. This is what we were talking about a little bit yesterday.
Okay, you go ahead. You do whatever.
All right.
Go for it.
I don't think that anybody can argue that Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league right now with what he's done. But after what we've seen in this playoffs, buy that Joe Burrow is the second best quarterback in the NFL right now.
I mean, is he not the only? He's beaten Mahomes, so I'm going to say, I'm going to say that he's the only active quarterback that's beaten him. He's 3-1 against him. Back-to-back AFC title game appearances in his healthy seasons. I mean, I get like getting hurt and having to be available is a big deal, but when he is healthy and he's out there, it is clear as day that he is the closest challenger to said quarterback. All right, I'm going to hit you with one. Coach Harbaugh's being formally introduced as the newest Chargers head coach. Buy or buy Harbaugh and Herbert get the Chargers back to the playoffs next year?
I'm buying it. I'm not into the Taylor Lewan 3-year plan. I think they get back next year. Harbaugh has instant first-year success everywhere that he's been. I think they get back in the playoffs. Let me tee you with one more quick before we go. Valentine's Day is around the corner. We're 2 weeks there. Buy or buy, it's officially too late to break up with your significant other.
Oh, that's a good question. No, don't waste time. Life is short. Do it on the 13th, do it on the 12th, do it.
Wow.
Cut. All right, we'll do the rest of these tomorrow in breaks.